Taking pictures of children isn't that difficult, but it can be quite hard to get photos that look really great. There's all different types of problems. For example, toddlers who won't stay still for a minute, or moody teenagers who have decided it's uncool to have their photo taken. Elizabeth here is 6 months old, and what I want to do is try and take some photos which are nice and simple, nice light on her face, and a nice uncluttered background. Here she is. Many parents put the child on their lap to have the photos taken, and because the parent is so close, it causes a cluttered type of background. I'm going to show you 2 or 3 ways of taking a specific type of shot. Now, one of the problems I'm going to have is once I put Elizabeth down, I want to work really quickly before she gets too fed up. As you can see, she's getting a little bit grumpy now. She probably needs a feed. So I'm going to hand her back to her mum and explain the steps to you separately. There we go. Come on then, back to mummy. Now this is a very specific type of shot, but it normally works great as long as the baby's in a reasonable mood. The most important thing is where is the location? Where do we actually put the baby? It's no good putting her in the middle of the room because we need some nice light. Now we could take her outside, but the sky is quite bright and she'd be lying on her back and it could cause a discomfort looking up at the sky. So I like to use a window. Now the best type of window to use is a patio doors or French window that goes all the way down to the ground because we're going to be laying the baby on her back on the ground. If you haven't got this type of window, then just use a standard window, but maybe raise the baby up a little bit, otherwise her face will be a little bit too dark. Next you need to find a blanket, a nice cosy, warm type of fleecy blanket, because the baby will be lying on this. It's best if you use a light colour as well, that works best. We're then going to undress the baby down to the nappy, so she's got a bare top. That will normally look great. Right, this is very important. We're going to lay her down on the blanket on her back, so she's going to be facing upwards, but her head is going to be towards the window and her feet are pointing into the room. Now that's very important because we want the light to come from above. If we turn her the other way, so her feet are towards the window, the light will be coming from underneath and that causes strange shadows on the face. Next I'm going to take the blanket and just pull it over her nappy, just to hide the nappy and make the picture look better. Now babies love this position, they can kick and move around and they're looking up at you, and so they're normally reasonably happy. I'm going to be taking a picture from above. So I'm going to stand on a chair. Now safety is obviously really important here. You have to make sure you've got a good strong chair or stool to stand on and keep your balance so that you make sure you don't fall. That's obviously really important. Now we come to the camera and its settings. And for this type of photo, it really doesn't matter whether you use a compact camera or an SLR. I'm going to be using a compact camera just to prove to you that it can be done. Now the first thing you want to do is to turn the flash off. That's because we want to use the natural light coming in from the window. Next you want to move the ISO up to about 400, maybe 800. Next you want to zoom in a little so you don't get the ground outside of the blanket inside the frame. You'll also want to half press a shutter waiting for the baby's great expression. Now if you're not sure about any of those topics, ISO, flash or half pressing the shutter, there are films on those subjects and there's a link to the films on this page. I'm going to be taking quite a few photos. There's no point in just taking one shot and hoping for the best. Take about a dozen photos and just wait for that great expression. Now if all of this seems like a lot of messing around, it really is easy to do and you can get fantastic results. So let's give it a go. There she is, she's lying on a blanket. It's great if you can have a little toy next to you to make her laugh, or maybe the mum. There she is. Hello. Elizabeth, I see. Elizabeth. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah. She smiles, she turns over.
Look at that. That is a lovely photo and the baby's got a wonderful expression. Her mum absolutely loves it. Notice how I've zoomed in slightly so that I didn't get the ground outside of the blanket in the frame. One other thing, remember how I said about having the camera in landscape orientation? That's because quite often the babies put their arms out, and if you have the camera the other way round, you're in danger of chopping off the arms or the hands, and you don't want to do that. And now on to the next photo. And just like before, I'm going to be looking for the best possible light. There's no point in putting the baby in the middle of the room somewhere and just turning a flash on. You'll just end up with a snapshot. So this time I'm going to open the back doors and use top shade. And there's a link to a film on top shade lower down on this page. It's a great technique and will give us a beautiful light on the baby's face. We're going to lay the blanket down again, but this time put a couple of pillows underneath. And the baby is going to be lying on the front, leaning on the pillows. Now she needs to be right up to the front of the blanket so that her head is raised up. And this is suitable for children from about 4 months old, as soon as they can hold their head up. As far as the camera is concerned, you can use either a compact camera or an SLR, but I'm going to be using an SLR with a wide aperture to blur the background a little bit. Also, if you're using a light blanket like I've been doing, then you'll probably need to lighten up the photo, and you can use exposure compensation for this. There's a link to that subject lower down on this page. In fact, that applies to the first film as well. Don't forget to turn your flash off. You need to get down quite low, to about the baby's eye level, maybe just slightly higher. And just take loads of photos, don't just take one shot. You're looking for the best photo with a great expression. Keep your finger half pressed on the shutter and wait until you see a great expression from the baby. Another good tip is to have the parent or parents next to you talking to the baby, trying to make them laugh. Okay, let's see how we get on. Elizabeth. Peepo. Yeah, I see. You have to take quite a lot of photos until you get a nice expression. Yeah. Peepo. Yeah, that's a great photo. I love that, as does our mum. Notice how I've raised the camera angle a little bit in that final shot, just to encompass the baby's head within the blanket, and it separates her hair from the background. Anyway, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the tips. More to come on taking pictures of children in future films.